What's going on, everyone? Today is going to be a very special video where I'm going to talk about exactly how I got started. So we're going to go on a journey. It's going to be about my journey. This video isn't just about my story. It is going to be a case study of exactly what works and what doesn't work. So pause the video, go grab a coffee, and let's dive in. I used to run a custom interior upholstery shop, right? And I loved my craft, okay? I loved what I was doing. I was creating really, really beautiful interiors, right? There are people who come in and they want crazy designs, and I'm able to make any of those things for them. Right? I'm not gonna get into, my background and where I went to college and all that stuff, but it was all geared towards this. I had one of those pit my ride type of shops, and one of the most satisfying things was seeing the look on the customer's face every single time I finished their car. And the moment of satisfaction was priceless, But here's the thing, while I was working, because every project meant working on the cars one at a time, and my income was tied to the hours that I'm able to put in. So I was essentially still selling my time. The shop that I had was actually in kind of a auto parts district. So my neighbors next to me sold performance parts, and they also did a lot of car audio. And in this shop, since they already have your car there, they were also selling some seat covers. Now here's the biggest difference, right? The interior shop that I had, I charged anywhere between like $800 to $1,200 for an interior job. The people next door, they were selling these universal seat covers, and those seat covers was something around like $60. And since they already have your car there doing car audio for you, they would say, hey, do you want some seat covers to protect your seats? We'll charge you another $40 on top to slap them in. So easy, $100, to take care of all your seats right next door. And so at the time, I really didn't even think much of it. And because it's like, we're all just doing local business, different strokes for different folks. People who want perfection are going to come to my shop. People who want to do, something simple to cover their seats, they could obviously go next door. I didn't see how much potential or how much demand the business was, because ultimately at the end of the day, he sold, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 in a week or something, right? So it really didn't faze me. But it wasn't until one day when I was kind of like looking around on eBay, and I found that people were selling the same universal cover. It wasn't exactly the same one, but it was very similar. And I found it on eBay, and then I looked at it, and I was lucky enough in this aspect, right? Which is, when I saw it, I was like, how much are they selling it for? Like somewhere around $50, $60. And what I did is I just clicked on see sellers other items. And then what I found out is this. He's selling just one item, just the car seat covers. So that made his store very, very easy for me to research. And when I dove into it, I looked at how many feedbacks he has and just try to do a rough estimate of how much business he's doing just selling the seat cover. Now, what was interesting about the seat covers at the time, okay, is because it was for such a general market. And this one thing that I noticed about it, which is this. They were selling black, blue, black, red, black, yellow, black, green combination color seat covers. And from where I'm standing, first of all, with my skill, my expertise, I already have skill and expertise first in doing seat covers, creating patterns and taking measurements and all that stuff. So I can make you, show car grade stuff. So to tell me to make a seat cover, it's like, I could do that. So that's the part where I said to myself, you know what? I'm willing to bet that's not really what most people want. What I think is that most people want conservative colors, kind of like your, solid black, solid gray, solid tan. Because despite all of the funky stuff that I showed you, just to show you, the extent of my ability, Most of the orders that I got was for conservative colors, solid black, solid gray, solid tan, maybe a two-tone gray, maybe a two-tone tan, but nothing that stands out too much, because at the end of the day, a lot of people probably thought something, black, yellow, black, green is kind of tacky. Not only very flashy in your car, but kind of tacky. But I want to make this critical distinction. It wasn't so simple that I just offered other colors. It's that I offered the right colors. So from years of working with customers, right, I had a clear sense of what people really, really wanted. Basically, the difference is I surveyed the land before we got into the business. When I got into this game, I didn't share the market with people, because if you go ahead and just look at what items are trending and then try it out, that is exactly like throwing darts and just seeing what sticks, right? Because you're going to be sharing the market with other existing items while you offer an item that doesn't really stand out. So you're only in a position to share the existing sales that's out in the market. In contrast to what I was doing, I wasn't here to share the market with anybody. I'm here to sweep the market and poach your customers. So let's talk about something that hits a lot closer to home, okay? And I'm talking about the dopamine rush. So again, for me at the time, seeing the look on a customer's face was priceless. I loved what I was doing, and I loved getting that reaction once the work was complete. And I feel as if that dopamine hit for resellers is a lot like that treasure hunt of finding that great item and then being able to flip it on eBay later and turning it for very good profit. But here's the reality of it. Chasing those short-term highs is what's going to keep you stuck. To level up, you have to sacrifice that immediate gratification and focus on creating something scalable. The progression of your business and its ability to grow is far more important than the fleeting excitement of making a single sale. This is why I'm such a huge advocate for knowing your market before diving in. By the time I went to the trade shows, I knew exactly what people wanted, exactly what they were looking for, how to improve upon it based on what customers truly wanted. If you don't bring a unique value to the market, no amount of listing optimizations or back-end calculations is going to result in more sales. When you think of the biggest names in products out there, right? Like, Sony or Apple, or whatever, those are going to at first, they're very, very far out of reach, right? Because we're not going to just start developing technology and software. Those guys are light years ahead. But when you take a simpler item, such as, Kleenex or Band-Aid, those guys became such the gold standard in their industry that people don't say, can you get me a facial tissue? They say, can you give me a Kleenex? People don't say, can I have an adhesive bandage? They say, you got a Band-Aid? Right. So these items are, at the end of the day, whether it's Kleenex, Band-Aid, or, Sony, Apple, all they have in common is that they offer a really, really good product. Brand loyalty and recognition will come in time, but this is only possible because they lead with excellence. So when you really think about it, if you're handed a tissue that isn't Puffs or Kleenex, you're going to run your fingers through it real quick just to make sure this is not going to be very rough on your nose. While if you knew what the brand is, you would just blindly go ahead because you have that trust in this brand. The same thing would apply to Band-Aid, right? Have you ever tried a Band-Aid that wasn't a Band-Aid? It was just like some generic brand. It's really hard to explain, but it doesn't flex exactly the same. The glue isn't made as well. There's a lot of things about it. It's really hard to put your finger on it, but an actual Band-Aid is a better product. So if you're looking to build a business selling products long-term on any e-commerce platform, including your own website, here's the 5 steps that you need in order to succeed. Get good at something while saving up your money, okay? You need to develop your skills and knowledge in a specific field. This is the foundation. Develop a great product. Your product should meet a need or solve a problem that other products aren't doing, or you're doing it better than other products. Get good at offering the product. Learn how to market and present your product effectively to your target audience. Get good at operating smoothly. Streamline your operations to help save time so that you operate effectively and efficiently. Once you've done all these steps properly, you will have a winning formula, and from there, you will expand and scale accordingly. I truly hope that my story helps you understand the importance of mindset, preparation, and creating real value in the marketplace. Because if you're chasing quick wins, you're going to hit a ceiling. But if you focus on offering something excellent, the opportunities are endless. So guys, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What do you think it means to be an expert in your field? What are the criteria that should be met? The more comments that we can get, the better everyone's understanding of how important this first step will be. So please share your comments below and let's keep the conversation going.